In this lesson, we're going to graph piecewise defined functions. And I always have kind of liked piecewise functions because I'm kind of dorky like that. Because what it does is it takes our function and it separates it into sort of sub-functions that are defined over different parts of the domain. So the domain means for certain x values, we'll use one function, and for other x values, we'll use another function. So in this case, from all of the values where x is less than 0, so basically anything on this side of 0, we're going to use x squared minus 2. Well, we know x squared minus 2. X squared means it's a parabola, minus 2 means it's shifted down. So I need to get a few points on the left side to see what the left side is going to look like. So let's try plugging in 0. Now 0 is not actually defined at this function, but let's see what it would be. If I plugged in 0, I would get 0 squared minus 2, so that would be negative 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an open circle there. I put an open circle there because it doesn't include 0, but it includes all the stuff to that point. Now let's plug in, say, negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, minus 2 is negative 1. Plugging in negative 2, I would get 4 minus 2, or 2. Plugging in negative 3, I would get 9 minus 2, which is 7. And now we have a pretty good feel that the left side of the equation looks like this. So it's a parabola. On the right side, it's x minus 5. So really it's saying y equals x minus 5 anywhere where x is greater than or equal to 0. So again, I'm going to start at 0. So 0 minus 5 is negative 5, which means, and this one, notice I'm putting in a filled in point. So why do filled in here? Because this value includes 0, whereas this one did not. So starting at negative 5, I'm using y equals 1x minus 5, so that's up 1 over 1. That's just a nice straight line that's easy to graph. So this is what my function will look like. So notice to the left of 0, it's a parabola. Starting at 0, it's a straight line with a positive slope of 1. Here's another one. This is broken into 3 parts. And notice that the 2 lines up with the 2, but only one of them will actually include a value at 2. This one goes from 5 and this one's from 5 on. This one includes 5, this one does not. So you should never have something that includes 5 twice or includes 2 twice. So where x is less than 2, I'm using x minus 4. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in 2. If I plug in 2, 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So 2, negative 2 is a point, but it's open circle there. And if I were graphing this, this would be, starting at negative 4 with a slope of 1. So I know that my graph on this side is going to look like that. Now from 2 to 5, the function is 3, so it's y equals 3, basically. So y equals 3 would be here, and then I'm going to go from 2 to 5. So from 2 to 5 on the x-axis, I've got a value of 3. Notice both of these are filled in circles because of the or equal to. And then the last one, where x is greater than 5, I'm using x squared. So that means I'm going to start at 5. 5 squared is 25. This was a poor graph for me to choose. This would be all the way up here somewhere. I'm going to have a circle, and it's going to end up being a parabola. So unfortunately, I didn't give you a very good graph on this one. I should have used some smaller numbers, but you get the idea. It's broken into 3 parts. Here's one for you to try, broken into 2 parts. So press pause, try graphing this function, and then press play to check your work. So for the first, from x is less than 0, I've got the graph of 2/3 x. So if I were graphing that, that would be like 2/3 x plus 0, which means it would go through at 0. But not including 0. So I'm going to put that open circle on 0. And then this would be like up 2 over 3, except I know that I'm going only values that are less than 0. So I'm going to go down 2 to the left 3 and put a point, down 2 to the left 3 and put a point. So I know on this side, I've got that kind of graph. For the other one, starting at 0, I've got negative x minus 5. So that's a negative 1x and minus 5. So my first point would be at negative 5. And notice this one will be filled in because this is the or equal to 0. And then I'll use my slope of -1 to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, etc. to make this line going this way. So that is my piecewise function.